AI bubble is probably going to burst at some point soon in the next year or two. However, I don't know, this could possibly prop that up or delay that for a while. It just depends on, again, like these things work at different levels, right? So if you look at theoretically what they're talking about is bringing together a bunch of like research universities and getting them to all be coordinated together. That's not really directly involving NVIDIA, Oracle, and OpenAI, which are potentially the companies that are going to, what would you say, are driving the potential for an AI bubble. However, at the same time, all of those companies do have collaborations, partnerships, and working relationships with these research universities and these labs. And so, I don't know, maybe it all does push AI and keep the bubble from bursting, or the bubble still bursts, this goes forward and is part of the next generation that like builds up the next version of AI, right? And I wonder if there is like, you need to have one bubble burst and then you're good. Because like if you look at the internet, which is like the one that I like to relate this to, is, we had the .com bubble and that burst, but we haven't had, at least in my understanding, another .com bubble, right? Like it burst and then now we just have websites for everything. And then as I pointed out, we have that technology that caused an economic burst. And then now we have our new technology, which is affecting that old technology, right? Where people are vibe coding out websites, or now websites have to be set up to be AEO and things like that. So just a lot of stuff that, again, probably isn't going to directly affect us currently, but possibly in the future. And, this also goes back to that presentation I did 3 weeks ago, about emerging trends in AI. And, again, like we might have this downturn in AI. Everybody's all about LLMs now, but the next generation of models that aren't LLMs, that you look at what we're using LLMs for now, and devises a more efficient and well-structured model that does either all the different things that we're looking for LLMs to do well, or starts to break up those tasks into other models that will do them more efficiently and effectively, along with, and maybe this is, I think typically, at least the narrative is that America develops a technology and then China copycats it. However, I'm pretty sure China just came up with this analog chip that theoretically is going to make all of this stuff 1,000 times more efficient and powerful. And so then maybe America can copycat that chip, and we start using that in all of our AI systems based on this new initiative to bring us all together. So yeah, take a look at it, and it does have interesting implications for AI. And again, I don't know if we'll see the effects tomorrow like we do with like when they drop the new nano banana, and it's like, dude, I can use nano banana right now. But in the next 5 or 10 years, we might see some real effects of this Genesis initiative. Okay, that's enough about Genesis initiative. We have a few new people on the call. I see C. Lynch. I see Justin. And then True HS, maybe. We'll start with C. Lynch, see if we got anybody, if we get any luck here. C, do you want to either turn on your mic or drop something in the chat on what brings you to the AI Profit Boardroom and to the coaching calls? Introduce yourself a little bit.
I'm Olga.
Oh, there we got True HS, okay.
With Christopher Lynch. We're here together.
Oh, okay.
And we would like to learn more about AI, how to use it, and that's why we're here. We're curious about what this is all about. This is our first time here in this.
Okay, a couple of questions on that. So for sure AI, right? Is there any particular type of AI that you're interested in, or are there any sort of business or professional applications you're thinking about applying AI to?
Yes, mostly marketing. We've been having problems creating ads. because it takes a lot of time, it's really expensive, and we know that AI is like the best way to do it, like really fast and low budget.
Okay, so like AI ad, so stills or video or audio, like what kind of AI ads are you looking to do?
Mostly videos and images.
Okay, all right. All right, so great. So I will give you a few pointers on what you can do, and this goes for everybody. So if you heard me mention Nano Banana earlier, I think that that's probably a great starting point for you. Is they have the new Nano Banana 3, I think is what it is, or Nano Banana Pro. And you can find a way of utilizing that. I think they have free versions of it to use. If not, you know, it costs pennies-ish, maybe a dime to use it every time. So it's not that big of a deal. If you're putting a lot of content through there, it is. But then if you are, I mean, generating all of that content, you should be able to pass that along to your client as a cost, right? And so Nano Banana is pretty cool. It will generate images for you, but it also let you edit the images, right? And so like, let's say you have it generate a beautiful woman at a restaurant, right? And she is supposed to be applying a specific type of lipstick, right? We'll just say that part. You could have it generate that image to begin with, and then your client might have a specific, you know, what their lipstick actually looks like. You can tell it here and then have her use this lipstick, the one that I have a picture from my client. You don't have to tell it's your client, right? And it'll edit it in, and now you have an image that has this beautiful woman, and she's at the restaurant and she's applying your client's lipstick to her lips. And then you could also have it change out the woman, right? Where it's like you have it generate that image, and then boom, here you have a headshot of a specific woman, and you can change that in, and then that could be a solution for you. And then from there, if you want to do video, what I always tell people is you should really, really do an image first, and then a lot of the video generators have an option of doing image to video. They will all also say that they'll do text to video. You really, if you want more control and the best quality, you want to do images first and then generate video from that image. And it's sort of like almost doing storyboards, where you would generate first those images that would be each different shot for your video, and then from there have it generate videos for you. VO3, and I think, or VO 3.1 also comes from Google, and it's very good at generating videos. You might want to look at companies like Higgsfield or Fall. Somebody else had a competitor to Fall that was a little bit cheaper. So Fall is FAL.ai. Higgsfield is sort of like how you spell it. And these are platforms that will like give you access to a bunch of image and video generators that you can play with. And then you'll see today, we're going to be doing a little bit of vibe coding. And I don't know if you've tried any vibe coding yet. You know, it definitely makes coding a lot easier. There is still technical aspects to it. And then you can also use, there are websites, I don't know if Higgsfield or if Fall have this on there, but they'll have like interfaces where you don't even need to connect to these services through code, where they'll just let you play with them online and generate whatever you're looking for. And so I would look into all of those different things. But that might be, again, a good starting point is Nano Banana Pro or 3 or whatever it's called, and then VO 3.1, and looking at those to generate images and videos for yourself.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Okay. So that was 2 for the price of 1. That handled 2. And I think we had somebody else, but they dropped out. Okay. So today we're going to be continuing, maybe finishing up. Hopefully we'll get closer to this voice agent system that we've been doing. If you want, you can check back on the previous Tuesday coaching calls. I feel like it might be the last 3 Tuesday coaching calls. On some of these, we don't get that much time to actually work on it. And so I'm only doing like review, and we make incremental progress. But I will do a little bit of an overview for everyone, and then we'll go through where we're at now. So essentially, what we've been vibe coding out is a voice agent system. So partially what I have been really wanting to try, and we have been able to try out this portion, and then I just wanted to close up the loop on this, is, and this is also happening in our Thursday coaching call, although again, an announcement, Thursday's coaching call is going to be Wednesday because of Thanksgiving. I guess for people who are in other parts of the world, maybe you don't do Thanksgiving, but in America we do. So we will have a coaching call tomorrow on Wednesday, but we're not going to have one on Thursday. And so tomorrow we will do back-to-back SSML coaching calls. SSML. So this is for voice generation. And so I think I haven't found anybody so far who says that they like a better voice generation platform than 11 Labs. I mean, there are other voice generation platforms. And usually I feel like on these coaching calls, if there was one that was better or even, you know, a really good alternative, somebody would have brought it up so far, but we haven't gotten that yet. So 11 Labs is great. And it will generate a voice for you. And we have already connected this up to 11 Labs to generate voices. But SSML, what it allows you to do is add tagging to your scripts so that it will do pausing. It will change where it does inflection, or it will also spell things out phonetically. It'll basically help make your audio sound more, more natural. And so that was sort of the genesis of this idea, is testing that out and seeing how well that worked. And it does work fairly well. I think that it definitely closes the gap between, you know, again, 11 Labs is pretty natural sounding, but it does sort of have issues with, you know, at times making sure that the pacing really feels natural. And doing this, you know, not 100% perfect, but is definitely helping with the pacing of the words and the rhythm that they come out with, where I think that, you know, there are certain like tells that we get cued for that let us know that, oh, that's AI generated. Whereas once you do this, then it becomes way harder for people to distinguish, oh, that's AI generated, because those cues that like really signal to them that it's AI generated, those are no longer there. And you're sort of pushing that quality line forward for them to be able to discriminate against. So initially what we did was we had an LLM. I'm almost certain we're using OpenAI. OpenAI's LLM generate a script for us. And then that script has the SSML in it. And then that gets passed along to our voice generation system, and then that generates a voice. And then what we've been working on this last step is the opposite. So I want it to be able to take in my voice and then generate text from that. And then we would connect the whole thing together, where it should be able to have me talk, and then it would talk back to me, and we would have a voice agent that would be able to handle things. Lately, I guess it's probably even the last couple of coaching calls, we've been a little bit stuck on not stuck as much as troubleshooting and making our way through the voice to text situation. I'm not 100% sure. I feel like previously I have been able to do voice to text really fairly easily, and this has been a little bit more clunky than I'm used to. However, I do think we're pretty close to the other side of this. And then let me pull up share the screen and go over things with you. So, and again, this is a vibe coded solution, right? This is our project here. And I'll just show you a few different things that we want to do in this. So I use what's called the provider system. At least, I mean, that's what I call it. There might be another name for it. But essentially what we're doing is, it's called abstracting away. And what it does is, so right here, I have two different files. One is for Anthropic, one is for OpenAI. And so theoretically, my system could either use Anthropic or OpenAI to do the LLMs. And then here, really the provider is DeepGram. And then, I mean, this is how far we've gotten so far, and we're trying to figure out this DeepGram part. But it could use, I think Google has a STS that we could put in here. And then as you see here, like it has 11 Labs and it has Google DTS. as options. And so essentially what this does is it allows it so that we have our whole system, and then it goes and it calls one of these, and it'll use either Anthropic or OpenAI, depending on what we tell it to do. And then we could add other ones in here. And then, it gives us the ability to update these if these update and we get like a newer model to use or something like that. And so that we don't have to change our entire system. All we have to do is change these and update these and then tell our system to use these. And it also creates, we end up with like these we have this base provider, which makes sure that we're calling these the right way. And it just really structures things very well. I also think, and I've said this before, that once you start telling your vibe coding interface that you want to do stuff like this, that it does start to be more sophisticated in general, which is what you're looking for. And then we have these different folders. We have our config folder, we have our core folder. Core folder is really like our core different scripts that we're running. And so we have the voice synthesizer, the SSML processor, the speech recognizer, the script generator, and the pipeline, right? And the pipeline sort of runs the whole thing. And then these are the different aspects of it. And again, like the script generator is going to call the LLM provider and do that. The speech recognizer is going to end up calling the speech to text aspects, and then they all get called by the pipeline. And then we have tests. So we have both tests, you'll see here, and we have these tests, we have diagnostics. And really the point there is that, and you'll see that there are these different diagnostics here, which kind of just show you where we started running into issues. So for each one of these different core files, essentially, we want to run tests for them. And so you can see we have a script generation test, we have a speech recognition test, we have a voice generation test, right? And so this is also a good idea. But then either if you already know that you're going to run into a problem, or you're running your tests and you've run it multiple times with updates and you're not getting what you want, then you want to get a diagnostic file. So one of these, and you'll see if things aren't going right today, I'm going to have it create a diagnostic. And this first diagnostic, Mike, well, I knew that this was going to be an issue, that it was going to have a problem with I've run into this before, like your computer connecting to your mic, it'll just, a lot of times just automatically happen when you're using other programs, but we're setting this up in code ourselves. And so things like this, like connecting to a camera or to a microphone or to a speaker, is never just absolutely simple. And so you might want to tell your LLM that you're working with, hey, create a diagnostic to figure out these different, like, where's the camera, where's the speakers, where's the mic, where's the printer, whatever you're doing. And then you'll have that information instead of like messing around with it. Then, as you could see, we had diagnosed DeepGram and diagnosed Voice ID, and these are like sort of diagnosed where we were having issues. And so, as I said, we're right now working on the DeepGram portion. And then another thing I just want to bring up, is this in here? I think so. So one of the things that I did for this is first plan a lot of this out with my LLM and just talk to it about what I was looking for. Let it know that I wanted to, have these test scripts, that I was going to want to use this provider basic system, that I wanted it to do proper error handling and logging, and that I also wanted it to create a setup script for me. And the purpose of the setup script, so you can see there's like a bunch of like folders in here. We have this env file. If you're not familiar, this is where you store your API keys, sort of like your credentials section of your N8N. And we have to generate our virtual environment so that the dependencies that we install in here are installed in all of our other projects. So what I did is I had a setup script do a bunch of this for me. And you can just ask the LLM, hey, create a setup script that does this, that sets up, gives me an env example, that sets up all my folders for me, and that gives me like blank versions of all these files. And then from there, you go through and you ask it to create each file that you're looking for. And then from there, also ask it, oh, generate a test script for each one of these files. and then generate, a diagnostic file if I need it. Right. So we're here, and as I said, I don't think I just play one of our outputs here. You can see our outputs are, we have our script outputs. These are different scripts the system came up with. Then we have these audio outputs. I think I shared some of these before. I might be able to find the share link, but you can tell when at least when I listen to them, that it does sound better when you use this SSML. And I wonder if we can see this in the scripts. It's not in that portion of the scripts. It must be somewhere else. Either way. Okay. And so we were having issues with connecting to our DeepGram provider. Let me pull up. So this is where we're at. So this, again, is another diagnostic. So diagnose, listen, client. Let's see what happens here. Here, let me make these guys closer together so I don't have an issue. And so, boom, you'll just see. Pretty simple. Just copy and paste stuff in here. File, save as. See here. Let's just something I do. It's just here. Terrible at spelling. So, and then I just want to have this in here in my main. Boom. Then we'll give this a try. And again, like these. Okay. So it's telling me to check these SDK docs. Oh yeah, it's probably I need everything. And let's see what it does from there if I hand it this. I could find the docs myself. Can you find these docs yourself? I may need to find it and provide it. So like sometimes, I gotta tell you that these platforms are pretty good. I feel like at finding docs now, especially, this one's on Sonnet 4.5. They have the new Opus 4.5, which is pretty cool. One thing, and again, like I really like using Claude for doing, this thing. I don't know if anybody else saw this recently. I feel like this is like a day or two old. Really kind of a cool system where, part of the thing with these chats is that you run out of context in your context windows. And then you have to start a new chat, but it's doing this thing these days, which is pretty smart, where it's compacting the conversations so that we can keep chatting. And so that we have not necessarily a longer context window, but we have a more efficient usage of our context windows. And then these can keep these chats going longer. Even if it wasn't what was going on, what we could do is, so right now, we're in a project, we're in this voice agent project. That's another thing. If you're doing a project like this, I do suggest you create a project. You're not just doing a bunch of random chats. And that way, so like a lot of these are files that we have saved in here. So it can use these as reference when it's building things. We probably should be updating this. Like if I do need to go to a new chat within this project, we can then update it with the newest files that we have now. And have it base it off of there. Although a lot of the files we're working on now have not been set in stone. These are a little bit more set in stone-ish, and so it can use these. We are probably going to need to change out like our scripts generator file, because that is now going to be based on, in our pipeline, what we're actually saying. And then do we have a pipeline file in here somewhere? We don't. I guess, well, because we're not really doing that yet, but then we probably will have to update the pipeline file that we have so that it works with this system. Like initially it was just set up to do script generation to audio generation, but now we're going to want it to be able to understand what I'm saying and just handle that. But really, like, again, like a lot of this is the toughest part where we're working on now. Once that's set up, then the logic does get a little bit easier. Man, and it is still compacting. All right. Let me see. Anybody have any questions on what I am showing so far before I jump back in? You should try Claude NVS Code. Authentic also has a code. Yeah. How do you feel about, Aaron? Have you tried? Do you feel like it's better? You can either turn on your mic or just throw it in chat. Do you think it's better to do it that way, and why? Like,
I don't use Claude too much within VS Code because I end up just using the GitHub stuff. But with GitHub, you get access to like all their models as well. So like today I'm working on stuff with Claude Opus, the 4.5.
Yeah.
And it's just doing a great job so far.
So when you say you're doing it with GitHub, how are you doing it with GitHub?
So GitHub Copilot, they have all the different models and whatnot. So I have that subscription and then I just use it within VS Code.
Okay. So then that just like allows it all to just happen natively in VS Code, essentially, right? Instead of having to do what I'm doing with like copying and pasting.
Exactly. And I think, who is it, Microsoft or GitHub, behind the scenes, I think they have like, when I'm trying to like search or do certain things within the code base, I think behind the scenes they have like their own search algorithms, like
Right.
similar, like if you go on GitHub and you're like, I need to find this file or something about this file, I think behind the scenes they're running that as well so that it can get the context to pull that into, I guess, so that your AI agent can use it as context. So I think they're doing some other cool things behind the scenes as well.
Right, and that might mean I need to start switching. That was part of the reason why I wasn't doing things like that, is because I wanted it to just be able to research and find the answers for me. And some of these in IDE solutions, I didn't think or weren't able to do that. They were like a little bit better for like if you want to just like locally do troubleshooting, or if you already had everything set up for you. But like a lot of times when we're using these AI systems, it's newer, and so then like the LLMs haven't been trained on it and they don't know how to use it, and so they have to do the research to figure them out.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it'll do that. It has like what are they called, tools and things like that. So like I'll give it a prompt like install Next.js, like the latest version, use blah blah blah, and it'll go find the commands and install it locally.
Cool.
And then just go through all the different things. And they have this cool new planning mode too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like right now, someone from my team was like, oh, hey, we want this new fraud insights dashboard that we want created. So I took their information, and now I'm just like going through a planning phase with Claude, or I guess GitHub, whatever.
So it's Claude through GitHub though, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. That might be a good one if we can get through this, where the two things I wanted to show are either using Cursor, or this sounds like another option of what I would do on a Tuesday and show, okay, like, you know, we've seen how to do all this stuff. This is how you would do it through GitHub Copilot. All right, let me take a look at that at some point. Cool. All right. And so yes, if you want, try what Aaron was discussing, look up, again, I would just like look up GitHub Copilot, how to use it, and start messing around with it and see how far you get. Still compacting the conversation. I feel like this is almost like there's something wrong here. Let's see what happens if I refresh. That's a lot of compacting. So, oh, wonderful. Only more reason to use GitHub Copilot. And then really quick, I do think I just saw he even had his camera on. Mahmoud, are you new to the coaching calls into AI Profit Boardroom?
Yes, it's my first day today, like first time.
Awesome. What inspired you, motivated you to join the coaching calls in AI Profit Boardroom?
I mean, again, it's a lot of noise there in the market in terms of like how to like make most out of the AI stuff. So I just wanted to like see how everybody's doing and to learn to use the AI to the best of possible way. Yeah.
And then what type of AI are you mostly interested in, or what kind of use cases are you trying to use? I know probably everything, right? But then is there anything you're either initially focused on or have as a priority?
I mean, to be honest, I feel like, you know, that in terms of even like from the basics, like to the prompting to like to increase the productivity or efficiency, I would say, and maybe to put more into practice in sales and marketing. You know, that's the one thing that I want to learn more about. Like, how can I use effectively for the sales and marketing?
Okay, and I feel like, you know, we do get, I mean, I think before you joined, we just talked to somebody else who was looking for help with AI with marketing. And I do feel like that's probably one of the in one way, shape, or form, I think a lot of people on here are looking for marketing/sales help. And I think you're absolutely correct in that, like the noise, there is a lot of hype noise around AI. I do think in the coaching calls, we try to get through a bunch of that. And then also one of the things that I have found, and like you saw it just now with like talking to Aaron, the good thing about the coaching calls is that you have other folks on here who are actually using these AI tools, and then they're getting results out of them, right? And none of them have any real reason to hype anything up. Whereas like on your timelines, you know, on Instagram and LinkedIn, you'll see, oh yeah, all you have to do is this, and then you get this. And it's like all those are very demo-based, idealized, based around trying to promote something. It's like, yeah, that sounds good, but like, is this actually going to be a solution for me? Whereas you have people who are really using it in real time and what they're finding with it. And then one thing that I'll say is I think that, and you'll see this in our coaching calls, that like, I do think that AI is a great solution for all these things. It's really not, a lot of times what you need to do is use multiple models or multiple solutions to get your answer. Or what you're looking for on the other side, taking it a little bit more piece by piece. It's not as glamorous or as hypey when you do it that way, instead of being like, oh, look, all you have to do is type in one thing and then you get something on the other end. You know what I was telling the other folks earlier is that if you want a really cool video, typically they'll show you here, just do text and you'll get a video. But really what you want to do is build a really good image using AI and then take that image and then make a video from that. And that's not as cool or as fun of a process because, well, now you have to do 2 steps instead of 1, but that is how you get a higher quality product on the other end. And then also something that got brought up yesterday is that N8N is great. Using automations to help you with your workflow is amazing. It is a good idea that either before you set up an entire automation workflow, or instead of doing an entire automation workflow, is that you use AI to help you with the work, but you don't necessarily need to set up an N8N automation. For instance, somebody yesterday was talking about putting together a newsletter. And it was a newsletter that they want to do weekly or maybe a few times a week. It's like, okay, well, like, that's 1 to 3 tasks a week that you're going to do. Setting that up in N8N is going to take hours and hours and hours and hours, right? And to get it right. And it's like, well, it's a lot of time to put into something where you could just set up, you know, a solution through ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity. And it maybe takes you 5 minutes to do it every time. And, you know, maybe eventually you create an automation for that to solve it. But if it's really only taking you 5 minutes to generate your newsletter after you set it up with an initial like half hour or something or an hour, then possibly just do that instead of this creating your own automation that just takes too long to do it. Or do that, use it as a proof of concept, and then generate your automation. So those are some of the, I do think that, yeah, like we do help with trying to actually find a little bit more of the signal through the noise. Let me see.
Thank you very much.
All right, so we were able to find the STK and deepgram provider final. Okay, so then this is our new deepgram.py. I failed to load the content. Try again. It's having a little bit of an issue. It's not displaying. And it is running clunky slow today. Okay, what is it doing? Yeah, go again. And this is running much slower than usual. You're not helping me out too much. But here, while we're waiting, let's do something else. Now I'm interested in that. Tell me about GitHub Copilot. I can implement it using. All right, we'll see what happens first. It's going to give me an answer to GitHub Copilot, or it's going to figure out this deepgram thing. I wonder why it's having such an issue today. I have not seen, maybe ever, it running like this and having such a problem. I wonder if it's the Opus 4.5 update. Oh, I guess that's news that they updated Opus to 4.5. I guess it's pretty cool. Like, I mean, if the GitHub Copilot already allows you to use Opus 4.5, then they are on it at least and ready to update. Okay. GitHub Copilot powered coding assistant developed by GitHub in collaboration with OpenAI. AI uses context of your code in natural language prompts to suggest lines of code, entire functions, or even solve complex logic problems on the fly. Key features. Agent mode. Might want to try this. $9 a month one. So you get free developer pack. Instant. And VS Code. Easy. All you need is GitHub account. Yep. Seems like it's pretty easy to set up. Pretty cool. I need to practice with it a little bit, but then yeah, this might be either this is going to get solved this week or next week we'll be possibly using this to do something. Give me over with work Copilot could be particularly useful for writing node scripts. I thought. Well, all right. Where are we at here? Okay. Verify file was created. Why is it this thing right here? How it's doing that is weird. Deepgram file. Okay, great. So this is going for deepgram.py. This is in our provider. Speech to text. deepgram. Okay. And then see, I want to do they tell me if I can copy and paste it? And Python test speech recognition. And let's see what happens. Okay, let's see what happens. Is this working right now? I wonder. It says recording duration in seconds, default 10. Didn't tell me to press enter. So we'll see. Either it's recording what I'm doing or see what happens when I press enter right now. See, I give him better instructions. Okay, let's see how this is working. Is this recording my speech? It'd be amazing if it was. That would be awesome. And then we'll find out because it's recording for 10 seconds. Okay, file save to audio, audio recording, perfect. And then transcript, let's see, press enter to run. Transcribe existing, okay. All right, so it's saying that all the tests passed, which sounds good. And then oh yeah, all right. This is what we're looking for. Okay, let's see how this is working. Is this recording my speech? It'd be amazing if it was. That'd be awesome. And then we'll find out. Right? That's essentially what I said. 99.92% confidence. That is legit. Right? And so if you are looking for something like this, I mean, deepgram is really good. You can use other providers. And again, with this provider solution, you can switch out providers pretty easily if you find somebody else who is better, but you can use deepgram to start. It's pretty inexpensive. And then boom, 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 you've got a solution here. Now, okay, what I'm going to ask it to do now is we now have a system. This is probably going to be what we're going to continue with. Last is connecting it all together, and then we may use a little bit of GitHub Copilot if I can get that up and running by next time. Let's see what happens here. Okay, great, that worked. Now it can do STT, right? Speech to text. Here, I'll do that. STT. I'd like to connect this all together so that probably need to update I think I need to throw the main and the pipeline in there. Here, let me check something out really quick. Does this have main or pipeline in there? Yeah. Let me add those. I'm gonna start adding, and then those provider files. Let's see. And so if you're doing what Aaron was describing with the GitHub, you're probably not gonna have to do this type of thing. I have to do it because I'm still using a stupid system. It may be time to switch over. So I want to do STT. I want deepgram, and I'm also upload from device. I want this deepgram file, and then I want the core file, which is pipeline. I think we're going to also need speech recognizer. I don't think it has either of those. And then let's do main. I don't know if main has anything in it. Yeah. Let's cancel main for now. All right. Need to update the pipeline. Google everything. Okay. All right. And then we'll have a few more minutes. We'll see how far that gets. And then did somebody? What I heard. Somebody put their hand up. I don't see any raised hands. And great, just a bunch of notes. And then let's see. While that's working, let's take this, search for GitHub Copilot. Oh, I was wondering if I needed to install these both. It's doing it anyway. Cool. All right, and so then that'll give me, and then here, let's just take a look. We'll see. And then I think next time, if I can, maybe we'll try to finish this off with GitHub Copilot instead of Claude to see how that goes. And then we can really sort of see all the different options, not all the different options, but 2 different options on how to put together a solution like this. And that's just looking at our project. Failed to view. Did I not give it access to pipeline? I mean, it's right there. Okay, so this is going to code up this pipeline solution, and then this is going to connect all the different pieces that we have. And we've already tested each different piece out, so we know that it can generate scripts with SSML. We know that it can generate a voice. We know that it can hear my voice. The one thing, and I'm probably, after this gets set up, I should have probably told you to do is a diagnostic, which is it needs to be able to control my speakers in a similar way that it needed to be able to have access to my microphone. I think we can let this do what it does, and next time around, I may ask it after it generates this, just so that we have it for next time, so I can put it in there. Do a diagnostic for the speaker connections to my computer, so that we at least have that ready to go if we need to run that diagnostic, and then that'll be faster. And then what I'll do is, this has already generated this stuff. We will put this in here, and then maybe just take Copilot for a spin with every other aspect of this once I put these two pieces in there, and then see if what it's like to have that do some of this work for us. So we have 1 more minute. If anybody has a question really quick, go for it. Otherwise, we can sign off for the day. All right. Well, again, I will see everybody who shows up here tomorrow. So we're going to do Wednesday instead of Thursday for our typical. And then tomorrow is going to be N8N day. And we are doing, if you're interested, so that is going to be 11 labs again, SSML, this time to generate a HeyGen avatar. And then also, if I am looking at if there's an open source HeyGen solution. If anybody knows of one, bring it tomorrow. I'm going to be looking for one also, just in case people are interested in that as well. Okay, everyone, have a great rest of your day. See you tomorrow. Thank you so much.